Hello Sweet Pea family, my name's Cassie and I'm the head tester here at Sweet Pea. Today I'm going to show you our current sew along. It's the bench pillow. It's our April sew along and this is just 4 different main blocks and then some corner and borders. It's very pretty. But to do a bit of a design shake up, I thought that we'd make it into something different. So instead of just making a pillow, I've got it as a bag. And this one consists of the exact same blocks, so it would still be eligible for the contest. This is our corner block and I've doubled them over for our flap. I've got side blocks and our bottom border blocks as well as our base of the bag. And then all 4 main blocks. So I didn't get a chance to film it. I just thought at the last minute I would just put it together, do it a bit quickly. But I know that people are going to want to know how to assemble this whole bag. So I thought I would just print out all of our blocks on pieces of paper and I'm going to use the guillotine just to do some cutting. So I'm going to just trim them all back to their seam allowances using our guillotine because we know that we shouldn't be using our scissors or rotary cutters on paper. I'll cut the rest of these out and I'll be right back. Just remember, this is just for demonstration purposes only, so I'm cutting all the way up to the borderline, but if you're doing this with your blocks, you need to leave your 1/2 inch seam. So I've got all my pieces here and now we're going to do some assembling. Okay, just sorting out the layout that I'd like. So we've got our 4 pieces of long borders. That's going to be 2 for each side of the bag. So I've got 1, we'll do one side at a time. That's one side. For this demonstration, I'm just going to use washi tape, but this is showing you that this is the front and the back. So I'm just going to turn over my panels now and tape it from the back. I'm just using our washi tape to stick these ones down together. It comes in a 6-pack and it's a great way to stick things on the back of your hoop or keep your zippers down. It's a really fantastic product. So that's one side. Oh, stuck to the table. That's one side. Okay, so now I've got our front and back panels. I'm just going to pop these ones to the side. So now I'm going to tape together my bottom blocks. So these ones can go in any orientation you like, so you can have the rounded sections going together or the satin stitch facing the same way. I'm going to do it the same as this bag. So I've got my satin stitches in the middle of the blocks. And just taping these the exact same as the other blocks. And this would be the exact same situation if you were to sew together these on your sewing machine. And then I'm going to sew them together like this. I'll just tear this extra. Oh, got my paper. Okay, so now that we've got the base of our bag ready, I'm going to attach it to one side of our bag. Okay, so now that I've got my bottom border blocks connected together with our washi tape, I'm going to attach them to one side of our bag front. So this is just going to go at the bottom of it, and we're going to have them centered with the middle line. There we go. So once we've reached this point, we're now going to cut our lining pieces. So we're going to cut one this shape, one larger, and then one is just our rectangular shape. Okay, so now for video purposes, we're just going to imagine that we have some lining pieces the same size as our bag fronts. So next we're going to put those to the side. That gets completed after we've assembled the rest of our bag. We're going to put them back sides up, and we're going to repeat the process of attaching the bottom borders to the back of our bag. I'm going to get my washi tape and attach it in the same fashion. So now we have a big piece, and that is both front and back. It's as easy as that. So next, we're going to fold the pieces over, right sides together, and we've got our little corners here, and that's what's going to box out the bottom. All we need to do now is stitch along this side and this side. So I'm going to put my washi tape over this corner. And repeat for the other side. Now that we've got both of our sides attached, we're going to open up our bag. Always check that all of your seams aren't showing. That's really important for like a really beautiful end look. So you would usually open up your bag, check all the seams, nothing's showing. None of your border lines are showing. So now that we've got this essentially boxed out, we're going to sandwich this down. See if this all works. And this is going to allow us to sew this seam together. I'll use my washi tape. Let's see if I can get this right. And this step, you kind of want to stitch to the neck because you want those end seams to be open. Just look like this. And then repeat for the other side. So now we have the structure of our bag completed. Now what you'll do is repeat the assembly of your lining pieces, and that would be the exact same process as what you've just completed with this bag. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, but we will come back to you with the bag flipped inside out. We'll see how this goes. I quickly realized that I wasn't going to be able to turn this inside out, so I've just printed out some more panels and assembled it to be completed. So at this time you would then assemble your lining in the exact same fashion. Keeping that to the side, then we also have the option of using our corner blocks as a flap clasp. So I've got 4 of the corner blocks here. I did back to back. I kind of assembled them so that they were like this. And I'll just show you quickly on the actual bag. It's easier to see. So this is basically what it looks like. So it's double-sided. And I placed a clasp in the center of the ring, which is an easy placement line. So here I've assembled the corner pieces, and this is going to be our flap for the bag. Before attaching these together, you can add your clasp. So choose your clasp and the color. You can then find the placement line, and we're just going to use the circle here, and that's an easy place to do it. I'm just going to poke it through because paper, and then you would fold them outwards. So that's already completed. Then we're going to attach them like this and sew all the way around, leaving one side open so that you can turn it out. And that means that you have no seams showing. You would just have this seam as an open seam. So imagine that I've just turned that out, and now it looks like this. One with the clasp, and then the other side with nothing. And still leaving the opposite side to the clasp open. This is then going to get attached to our bag. We stitch it on the outside with the raw edge facing the top, so that once you attach your lining, everything then turns out. We can now still, while not having the lining inside, find the opposite side of our bag's point where we want it to reach. And that can be as high or as low as you'd like. But I like to have, on this one I've shown, I've got a full block showing, and then this one is just what's rounded over. And that can go through the seam, and then you've got your backs of that. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do the same thing. Yes. Yeah, so that would be basically what it looks like. Now that you've attached all of these extra pieces, you can also now decide on how you're going to attach your strap. So for our sample, we've got 4 loops on either end of our bag. We've got 2. We've placed them on the inner block instead of on the outside, because what we want to do is we want to actually put a fold or a pleat in our bag to make it stand the way it is shown. And that's just going to be through the lining. Once completed, we're going to just do a little pleat in here. So I'm just trying to find my footing now, because I just made this whole assembly process up as I was going. I had a picture in my head, but I kind of just like went with the flow to find out how it was kind of going to work. So I've just added these here to symbolize our little loops with our D-rings. And that's all done before we add our lining, because again, we want them to stay in the seam exactly the same as this would be in the seam, our clasp and flap. So I'll just attach that to the other side, just so we're all on the same page. So now we've got, imagine this is your lining. We'll just use this as our lining. We've got our lining and our finished bag before adding the rest of our little bits and pieces. So now we're going to add our bag right side out to our lining that's wrong side out. So let's see if this works. It's all just a play it by ear sort of situation. And this is going to allow us to work from the inside with our machine. So now that we would have these seams lined up, we're going to put this on the inside of our sewing machine and use this seam line to sew all the way around the lining. I just remembered that I forgot to mention that when you're assembling your lining, you're going to keep about a 7-inch opening, and that's where you're going to turn out the bag once you've finished your whole assembly process. So this lining would have an opening at the base. You sew around the top edge, and then once you're completed, you can use that opening to pull the rest of your bag outside of that little opening. Then basically we have this. This is where we are so far. The bag would be almost complete. The only thing that we would then add is our little pleat. And that's an optional thing. That was just because I liked the way that it stood up Okay, so imagine we're using our imagination a lot. We've turned out our bag. Our lining's now on the inside of our bag. I'm just going to show you quickly how you would complete the pleat. So we've got our 2 border blocks here, and they're already kind of caving inwards. And to help keep that structure, what we're going to do is we're just going to fold it, and then we're going to just sew a small section. So show you here. A small section down here. It only needs to be about 1 inch. It's just to keep that structure. But you would repeat that on both sides, and then your bag would sit up nice and straight, like this. And that's what it looks like on our finished product. So we've got our structure staying here. We've got our little pleat on the side. It's really only ½ an inch here, and it doesn't need to be too much. It's not doing too much to the inside. Everything's just staying nice and firm. Let me close that clasp. And that is our finished product. So if you do decide to take inspiration from this bag and complete it in the same fashion, please share it online. We'd love to see your makes. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe. And that's basically it. That's our retro rumble bench cushion turned into a bag.